Like to speak more about that feminine rise thing that you're feeling that you initiated here, Elena?
Um,
What is it that you're feeling exactly?
just an understanding of why I felt. I don't know. I don't exactly know what the word is. Is it why I felt lost? Is it why I felt unsupported? Is it why I felt disempowered? All of those words sound too strong to me, in part because I feel like I'm on a discovery and I'm right at the beginning and I just don't know enough to, those are really heavy words. Um,
Is it felt or
but
feel? Is it something that happened, or you? Is it current, or is it something that was?
um, there was a moment and then I'm really expanding into it. So it's current. But I listened to a podcast. It was Marie Forleo and Regina Thomas Haller, I think is how I'm probably butchering their names, but Regina wrote a book in 2018 called Pussy, and hugely controversial name, but she chose to name it that because women don't have a name for that part of themselves. When you ask a lot of women my age, older, um, younger, that when you ask boys what you call it, they can tell you, well, it was a penis. When you ask a woman, there's like this long list of all these different things that they were called it or that they called it, but a lot of them just don't have a word. They weren't told to call it anything. And so when you imagine that where the source of our feminine power comes from, when that doesn't have a name, and it's not just the source of feminine power, it's the source of all life itself.
Absolutely.
And we don't give it a name. Like to me, it was completely, it was shocking. And she went on to, I mean, it's a really fabulous episode. Um, but things like showing ourselves worthiness through pleasure. And I don't mean that kind of pleasure. I mean buying yourself flowers, taking the time to go to the flower shop and putting those flowers next to you at your desk, because that shows worthiness. That shows that you are worth those magnificent things that have come out of this earth. Or for me, what I've been doing lately, and I'd been doing this before reading this, but I'm putting more meaning and intention behind it now, is when I drink my coffee and get ready for my day, I have all of these candles lit. And that too, it takes time, and they're tea lights, so I'm constantly changing them. And but it's part of, I was doing it before kind of because it was Christmas and I liked the lights, but now I've realized that there's something about the start of the day and the atmosphere that I'm creating that really is about cultivating this pleasure for myself, and this space to really be in myself in a way that I haven't fully considered before. And part of that is the female energy. And it's hard for me to talk about it in that way because that is who I am. Like I don't know how to separate those two things. Um, but I feel the other thing that it's really started to make me think about is a lot of the books that I've been reading are written by men. How would a woman write about that exact same topic? What if that book was written by a woman? What would that mean for me sitting with that book? And now I'm not discrediting any of the fabulous books that I've read and that have given me so much, but it has really it's giving me different questions to ask about things, where when I read these very kind of strategic words or something, I can step back now because I have the awareness to think, how does this sit with me? Does this feel the way that I want it to feel? What would be a word that would shift this feeling for me? Strategy becomes what? Vision becomes, or goals become more of a vision, or or even that there's like a construct around all of that that I'm still exploring. And it's because of this openness that I have in my design, Richard, but it's also this feminine energy, those two things in tandem. I'm really curious and committed to exploring what that means. And if I'm not careful, there can be a lot of fear, especially around that openness, because I'm always wanting to hear new things, right? And maybe I should do it that way or that way. But I want to take that into creating it as one of my most powerful strengths. We see that in so many people, right? Like um, uh, all of these people, the Atomic Habits, right? Like he got busted in the face with a baseball bat. Having something so horrific happen to us can then become our greatest strength. So what does that really mean? Yeah, that's where I've been the last few days. And that's really what I've been thinking about.